Hey guys, Charlie Murphy here. Thank you for choosing my video. Today I'm playing a session of 5-10 no limit 6 max games on Ignition. Upper right hand table, I defended the big blind against a button open, a 2.5x open with queen deuce suited. Flop checks through, so I decide to probe the turn for a small size with my weak top pair. The in-position player goes ahead and puts in a raise. It's not too common, but I am seeing some of this looking trying to get some cheap showdown value. I'm going to go ahead and call with top pair here and evaluate on the river. Mostly fold to those raises after I turn probe small, but with top pair on a loose formation, I think I at least want to peel once and see what he does. Now he goes and he bets pot. Very, very unusual position I find myself in here right off the bat. And that check raise bet line is not particularly bluffy. That size not particularly bluffy. The formation of course is bluffy. Given that it's kind of a weird line, I think the line is probably the most important factor here, and the pot size bet in the river. I'm going to go ahead and fold this. I can have hands I trap with on the turn, like sets or straights. I can also have made some flushes there. I don't have removal to block either made flushes or made straights, which isn't the end-all be-all, but does help sort of break ties when it's pretty close. Fairly coordinated board. You know, it's not a true triple Broadway, but there is two Broadways out there and a straight possible, so those tend to be a bit similar. Those also usually aren't particularly bluffy. Little bit nitty to fold top pair, but in that particular line, on that particular board, I think it's okay. Lower right-hand table, going to open queens from middle position using a 21% range. Go ahead and tag this 2-seat as a recreational player on the upper left-hand table for open lipping the cutoff. I will play raise or check here. I guess those would be my choices, but I'm only going to be isolating raising about 12%. I'll check in a hand like 10-7 suited, and I'll be checking range on the flop out of the big blind. Against that large flop bet, more than pot, when I've got no pair, no draw, only some weak backdoors, I'll gladly check fold, especially multi-way with the short stack, rather than start chasing backdoor draws. Lower right-hand table, get, a 2.4x open from the button. 10-4 suited sort of on the cusp of my big blind defense against a button open for 2.5x against 2.4x. It's also just fine, so I'll defend, then I will check on the flop. Upper right-hand table, going to 3-bet out of my big blind against the 2.5x cutoff open with ace-jack suited. I've got some decent backdoors here, and against a small flop-sized lower right-hand table, I'm going to go ahead and put in a check-raise bluff. Barrel if I pick up some equity, like a 9, a heart, a queen. Got removal to 9-10, ace-10, and open-ended draw. I'm going to go ahead and keep barreling with the hand so far. And we take that one down. My 3-bet out of the big blind here in the upper right-hand table, I'm facing the 4-bet here with ace-jack suited. I think we can go ahead and defend that for a call. This guy doesn't seem to be particularly loose or tight. Can defend for a call with jacks through 9s, trap with aces, and also call with some suited Broadway cards like ace-queen, ace-jack, king-queen in this formation. Lower right-hand tail, I'm going to go ahead and open the blind on blind with queen-10 offsuit using a 45% range. Face a small bet here. I want to play my range for a check call. There's really no merit in raising either my strong hands or I've got aces and 9s of sets. I don't have kings here, of course, and I've got a lot of ace queen, ace jack, king queen, and then jacks and 10s. There's really no reason to raise. I want to call my entire continue range here. Keep checking. If he's got me beat, he probably, the jack isn't a great card necessarily, in that if he had aces, kings, ace, king, I was beat anyway, and the jack doesn't help me. That said, this hand is getting stronger and stronger. I did outdraw ace, queen there, which he in theory could have. I He's going to go ahead and bet small. I'm a little bit worried that that's actually a stronger hand than if he just went and jammed all in. However, here with aces and jacks, I just don't see I can do anything else. At this point, I probably want to be jamming all in with my sets of aces, my sets of jacks, my sets of 9s. I guess I can have ace-jack for 2 pair. I can also have some king-queen, a diamond, combo draw with pair-type hands. I think I just want to get them in at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and check jam my ace-jack. Did not get snapped. That's a good sign. Oh, I outdrew ace-queen, but then he outdrew me on the river with the board pairing counterfeit. C'est la vie. Not sure he's in great shape with ace-queen there on that particular board against my range. Like I said, I've got sets of aces and 9s on that flop. If I continued with jacks on the flop, I just made some sets of jacks. I've got aces and jacks for a better 2 pair. I've got aces and queen for the same hand, and I've got, if I'm jamming all in there, if I'm taking that line with king queen, I'm doing it with king queen of diamonds. It's got all that equity. So I think he's in pretty bad shape against my range. I think he's probably going to be better off checking that hand back on the turn as opposed to getting himself pot stuck. I think I navigated that spot okay, though. 4-bet pots are tricky, because you don't see them a lot at lower stakes when players are more passive, and you're never quite sure exactly how wide you want to be continuing. I've got, some research and studying to build those ranges, but out in the wild, who knows what you're actually running into on a spot-by-spot basis. Lower left-hand table, open king-jack suited from the cutoff using a 28% range. Get called by the big blind and an ace, queen, deuce, rainbow flop. I will go ahead and put in my small range bet. King 6, a little outside my usual blind on blind open, but this guy's been super nitty so far, so I'm going to go after him, see if I can't pick up a free blind and a half that I would otherwise just fold away. Yeah, he's playing 8-8 over 24 hands. He's probably just looking to play some kind of mathematically oriented short stack jam or fold strategy pre-flop. And apparently implementing it in a very tight fashion. Queen 10 a little outside of standard open range. Could maybe be some merit into playing it to try to get into a pot with this fish out of the small blind. Opted not to there, but that would be a reason why you might want to do it. Lower left-hand table, get a min raise from the middle position. Going to go ahead and defend with 10-5 suited and check range on the flop. Get a min raise from the button, then the small blind call in the upper right-hand table. I'm going to be pretty tight here, but can still get in there with a hand like ace-9 closing the action, especially against a short stack where I'm not that worried about being dominated. Lower left-hand table against the 3/4 size of pot continuation bet when I've got no real backdoor equity. I'm just going to go ahead and check fold. Upper right-hand table against the half pot bet, then the raise out of the small blind, and easy fold with ace high. Upper left-hand table, get a 3x open blind on blind. I'm going to go ahead and re-steal with king 7 offsuit. That hand not quite good enough to call in my opinion, but I will 3-bet a few of those hands just outside the calling range, maybe like king 7, queen 7, king 6. So I'll go ahead and put in my 3-bet here. Upper right-hand table, going to open middle position with queen 10 suited using a 21% range. Upper left-hand table, got a middle position 2.2x open. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet from the button with ace queen suited. 3-betting about 10% here. And blind on blind, lower left-hand table, just go ahead and fold the 10 deuce against the 3x open. Lower left-hand table, going to open 10-9 from the button using a 44% range. Upper left-hand table, going to open ace-3 suited from the cutoff using a 28% range. Upper right-hand table, going to open ace-9 from the button using a 44% range. Lower left-hand table, after the big blind defends and checks, I'll go ahead and put in a small range bet on the queen-4 deuce two-tone flop. Upper right-hand table, going to open 10-9 suited from the cutoff using a 28% range. Nice flop for my hand, ace-jack-8 two-tone, giving me the open-ended straight draw and the flush draw. I'm going to go ahead and put in a small range bet. I'm against a recreational player that's been limping pre-flop. Lower left-hand table, my range bet got called. I turned second pair. I'm going to go ahead and play overbet or check in this situation and check back second pair, looking to either under-rep my hand for a river value bet or to induce a bluff that I can snap off. Upper right-hand table, I turned my flush. I'm going to go ahead and use a half-pot sizing convention or check. So I'll be betting a lot thinner, also betting pretty much all my flushes at that point for value. And the 10-9 hand, he's sure taking his sweet time on his river decision. He checks. I'm going to go ahead and try to get some value from some kind of pocket pair, ace-4, ace-5 type hand. Go ahead and bet about 70%. And hope he doesn't figure out he should check raise me here. Nope. He check calls, which is not an unreasonable thing to do in that particular line. He had pocket sevens, especially with a hand like pocket sevens, a pretty decent bluff catcher. I just happened to have a hand there that got some value. Lower left-hand table, going to open king-jack from the cutoff using a 28% range. Upper right-hand table, blind on blind. We are facing a 3x open. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet about 17, 18%, including my suited connectors, or at least a mix of them, like 6, 7 suited. Got called and got an ace-king-deuce rainbow flop. Good flop for my range, as I've got all the aces, kings, ace-kings, and he really shouldn't have any of it. But not so good for my particular hand. I will, of course, be range betting small here, though. I can pick up some cards I can barrel on, essentially clubs. The 10 here, I don't have the spade draw. I don't have any blockers or draws to the Broadway straight. Just going to go ahead and check this one back. We get to the river. Let's see what he does. He checks to me, so I'm just going to have to go ahead and take my stab at that pot with 7 high. Can have hands like ace-queen, ace-jack, a lot of ace-x that are going to check back on that turn. Can be going for value here in this particular spot. And I probably folded out a hand like Jack-10, King-Jack, something like that. I don't think I really fold an ace in that line. If I do, shame on him. Some of the other pair stuff you can get to fold. Get a 2.4x open from middle position in the lower right-hand table. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet my button with ace-jack using about a 10% 3-bet range. Get shipped all in over the top by one of these goofball short stacks. I've only got to call off about 140 into 475. It's too good a price. He's probably pretty tight here without Toddy's spin, but that's too priced to consider folding ace-jack. And I'm flipping against 10, so even with how strong he is, it ain't that bad. And I run pure on that one, win my flip, and pick up the pot. Upper right-hand table, going to open king-8 using a 44% range, opening on the button. Got a 3x open, blind on blind, upper left-hand table. Jack 7 just outside my range of hands I would either call or 3-bet with as a bluff. King 8 here facing that 3-bet from the blinds toward the bottom of my open range. Probably my worst king in most situations. Just go ahead and fold that one against the 3-bet. Not much to really think about or do with that one. Upper left-hand table, get a 2.5x open from under the gun. I will 3-bet from the small blind with ace-king suited. 3-betting about 7% here. Pretty tight formation. Now I get 4-bet, and a hand like ace-king, both suited and offsuited, is really too good to start seeing monsters under the bed and look for a reason to fold. So I'm just going to go ahead and chip in my aces, my kings, and my ace-king here. I would trap with queens, or trap with aces, and also call with queens, jacks, ace-queen suited, something like that. Ace-king I'm just going to get in while the getting is good. Run into pocket kings, and there's the third king. Oh, I've got some life, though. Didn't get there, unfortunately. But I think that's a fine hand to shove. Get a 3x open from a weak player here on the button, the lower right-hand table. I'm going to defend with my offsuit broadways like queen 10 for a call. I will check range on the flop. Upper right-hand table, I will open jack 9 on the button using a 44% range. Lower right-hand table, he checked back the flop. I'm going to probe at the turn now with my gut shot. Follow through on the river, whether I hit or whether I miss. The queen, actually, that might be the kind of hand I look to check down. I'm really not folding out an ace or a flush, I would hope, ever. I don't even know king folds that much. I don't know that I get called by the 9 enough to justify it. I'm just going to try to get a free shot on here against a player that I think is on the weak side. I do when my queen shows down good. Okay, lower right-hand table, blind on blind, 3x open. I'll defend for a call with king jack. Now the blind player, he checks. I'm going to go ahead and stab for half pot. I do have good removal to the queen and some backdoor straight draws. He did have the 9 in the lower right-hand table. Get a 2.4x open from the button. I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet out of the small blind with ace-deuce suited. 3-betting about 15% here in this very loose formation. My 3-bet gets 4-bet. Probably too loose to do much of anything about this with a hand like ace-deuce suited. I could jam queens, kings, ace-king. I could even jam ace-5 suited as something of a pre-flop bluff in the formation this loose, but I don't want to start doing that with all these suited aces. There's going to be too many of them. Go ahead and lay that down. Can also call with aces as a trap, can call with jacks through 7s in my suited broadway, so I can still be defending that 4-bet fairly widely. Lower right-hand table, I will open ace-jack from the cutoff using the 28% range. The spot at the table busted. Waited all session for his nines to jam him in and jammed him into kings. My buddy over here in the one seat's running real pure, picking up kings for stacks 2 over and over as well. Open ace-8 from the button, the upper right-hand table, using a 44% range. Lower right-hand table, going to open 5-3 suited from the button, using about a 44% range. Just right around the bottom of my raise first in range from the button. One of the worst hands I would open. Get a min raise from a short stack cutoff player on the lower left-hand table. I've got ace-3 suited. Probably no reason to do anything, especially against a short stack, but just go ahead and defend for a call. Check range on the flop. Lower right-hand table, will open jack-5 suited from the button, using a 44% range. And we'll check fold ace-3, even against a small bet, just with nothing in the way of meaningful backdoors. Lower right-hand table, will open queen-10 suited from the cutoff, using a 28% range. Lower left-hand table, get a 2.3-ish X open from the button. I will 3-bet from the small blind with ace-8 suited, 3-betting about 15% here, including all my suited aces. Upper right-hand table, get a 2.5X open. I will 3-bet out of the big blind with pocket kings. Going to 3-bet about 14-15% in this formation as well. Can also have calls from the big blind, though, as opposed to the small blind where I'm playing 3-bet or fold. Lower right-hand table, going to open ace-king suited from the button, using a 44% range. Now I get 4-bet from the button here after I 3-bet. I'm just going to go ahead and ship my kings back in. Ship in kings, queens, ace-king, maybe ace-5 suited as a bluff, and then trap with aces, call with jacks through 7s and suited broadways. Lower right-hand table, I'm going to go ahead and, and ran kings into aces. That is unfortunate. Lower right-hand table, I range bet small, the 10-8-6 two-tone board. I get called by who I believe is to be a weak recreational type player, or at least a softer reg, maybe not a true rec. He quickly calls. Turn is the 9, putting the 4-suited out there, and also giving me the nut flush. I'm going to be betting half pot or overbet on this flush closer, and I'll be betting half pot, of course, with the nut flush. Comes along and calls. Lower right, upper right-hand table, I open king jack from blind down blind using a 45% range. I'll check range on the flop. Not the best river in that now full houses are possible. I am, of course, still going to be trying to value bet my hand. I'll use a 2/3 size as opposed to an overbet size here now, as I'm a little bit more scared of potential full houses. I will check call with my gut shot, no flush draw. Lower right-hand table, open 5 from the cutoff using the 28% range. Lower left-hand table, middle position, open about 2.5x. I 3-bet from the cutoff with ace-queen suited. Turn puts a heart up there on the blind battle upper right-hand table. I don't have a heart. I'm going to go ahead and fold to the second bet from the big blind. Called by the big blind, lower right-hand table. I'm going to go ahead and range bet on that king 10-9 board. I'm sure that's not solve or approve, but it doesn't seem to get me in too much trouble. So I'm not going to stop until somebody gives me a good reason to do so. Yes, the check raise, I'll fold the 5s. Upper right-hand table, get a 2.5x open from middle position. I'll be 3-betting from the button with my pocket jacks. 3-betting about 10% in this formation. Upper left-hand table, going to open 5-3 suited on the button using about a 44% range. My 3-bet gets called. He checks to me on the king 8-3 two-tone board. I'll go ahead and put in a small range bet. Lower left-hand table, open 7s from the cutoff using a 28% range. Turn puts a 9 up there on the 3-bet pot in the upper right-hand table. A double flush draw out there as well. I can have aces, ace-king. I can have all kinds of kings. King-queen, king-jack, king-10, at least the suited varieties. I can have king-queen off as well. Sets of 9s. Probably don't really have sets of 8s. Jacks are going to be checked back, assuming he checks to me. Be looking to bet my aces, most of my king X, and then jack 10, and a lot of my draws, a lot of my flush draws. Checking back hands like jacks, trying to bink the river right there. See here. I'm going to raise. I'm not that worried about him backing into a hand like queen jack, or queen 10 rather. Just going to move all in. Could either do a little bit smaller, more of a half pot type raise. Probably be more inclined to raise a little bit smaller if I was bluffing with a hand like, I don't know, pocket 10s would probably make sense. Well, He stacked me with the aces and kings. I stacked him with a set of jacks over a set of nines. So he peeled his on the turn. I peeled mine on the river. And those hands more or less play themselves. Blind on blind, 3x open, 10-6 offsuit can be folded. For right-hand table, I will open Queen 10 from the button using a 44% range. Lower left-hand table, I will open Ace 3 suited under the gun using an 18% range. It's a small 3-bet from the big blind. That's kind of a weird situation. The small 3-bet lets you call a lot more, but I'm still going to be pretty cautious in such a tight formation, big blind versus under the gun. It's probably about as tight as it gets. Even for the small size, I'm going to call most of my pocket pairs and most of my suited broadways. I think some of the smaller suited aces can actually be folded here, though. Not completely sure. But I think it's okay to still be pretty cautious in that formation based on some solves I've ran against various sizes and various 3-betting frequencies. For the most part, the wheel aces are getting folded from what I've seen in those spots. Or at least should be if you're believing what the solver tells you should do after asking it a question like that. Lower right-hand table, I'll open Ace-6 suited, blind on blind, using a 45% range. We get 3-bet. I don't want to jam, even though he showed I don't want to jam with the hand that weak. I think I just want to go ahead and fold this. Interesting, though. I'm going to keep an eye on how aggressive he is. And this is almost like a tournament situation where a player is playing 25, 30 blinds deep, and there's some pre-flop raise and re-raise type action. I think the move there is either 4-bet all in, or fold. I guess I could maybe call a few hands as well. I think Ace-6 is probably too weak to be jamming over the top in that spot, though. Got a 2.5x open from the cutoff on the upper right-hand table. 9-5 suit a little bit too loose to defend in that particular spot. Ugh. Upper left-hand table, going to open ace-deuce suited for middle position, using a 21% range. Lower left-hand table, I will open ace-queen from the cutoff, using a 28% range. Multi-way in position, or out of position rather, to at least one player. I'm going to be going ahead and checking range on this board. And against the bet for the half pot and the call, I'm just going to go ahead and fold my ace queen high. Could maybe talk me into check raise bluffing with it if I had a backdoor flush draw, as it does block the best kings, though ace king shouldn't be in anyone else's range, so I'm not sure that it's terribly relevant. But it does block king queen and would give me variety of cards I can pick up equity on if I had a backdoor flush draw. Without it, I think it's just more prudent to fold in that spot multi-way. Lower right-hand table, I'll open ace-10 suited under the gun using an 18% range. Out of position player should have probably checked raise his straight draw on that flop. Lower left-hand table, I'll open queen-jack from middle position using a 21% range. Can't get a fourth table up here. Lower right-hand table, I will open ace-9 from the cutoff using a 28% range. Min raise from a recreational player, blind on blind, playing about 30 blinds deep. I will defend for a call with 4-3 suited. Pretty decent flop for me with second pair, gut shot, backdoor flush draw. He checks to me. I will go ahead and stab for half pot. Get a 3x open from a guy playing a little short, about 70 blinds deep. I'm in the small blind with king, queen suited. I'm planning to 3-bet this particular hand. I'm trying to think about what my overall range should be looking like here. Well, they want to 3-bet 10s plus to get them in and ace-king if he jams over the top. Probably go about a 60-40 range of value bets to bluffs, as in hands that will call off against the jam versus hands that won't. So I'm going to 3-bet about 8 to 9%. He calls. I'm going to go ahead and range bet small on this Jack-8 deuce two-tone board. He comes along for the turn. I've got slightly more than pot. I've got now a gut shot and a flush draw. I'm just going to go ahead and move him all in. Hope I can fold him off a pair. Can't fold him off ace-king, of course, but I can actually get there this time, and I spike my draw and scoop the pot. Very reasonable combo to shove all in for pot there on the turn. He really should just be playing that ace-king for stacks pre-flop at that stack depth, I think. However, of course, if he calls pre-flop, his post-flop play is, of course, just fine. My turn shove can make him fold a lot of a lot of pairs that don't have, that are not a pair of aces. So if he's got something like Jack X, he might get worried I spiked and fold out. If he's got some kind of pocket pair like pocket tens, pocket nines, pocket sevens, or an 8X type combo that called the flop, I think those are going to be folding the turn an awful lot. It keeps giving me that same damn table that I don't want. Most to play 3-bet or fold on the button, so I'm not going to get in here with pocket fives for a call. If you do have flat calls in your button range, pocket fives is a pretty reasonable hand to call with in a situation such as that one. Lower left-hand table, we're going to open King 10 suited under the gun, using an 18% range. Get 3-bet by the in-position player. We're a little bit looser here, so I just cannot blindly 4-bet and stack off with queens plus ace-king, especially in a looser formation where I open under the gun. I would probably be 4-betting kings, aces, ace-king suited to get them in. Keep ace-queen offsuit in there as my bluff combo, and still be pretty tight with these out-of-position calls. You know, ace-queen, king-queen, since I'm not 4-betting them, pocket queens, ace-king offsuit. And then hands like jacks through eights as well. We could go a little wider than that, a few more pocket pairs, a few more suited broadways. I think king 10 suited should be a fold, though. I think that one's a little too far outside the standard call to go ahead and sneak that one in. Get a 2.5x open for middle position on the lower left-hand table. I will go ahead and defend my big blind for a call with 7-6 suited. Check range to him on the flop. He checks back the flop. I hit a great turn card for me, giving me trip sevens. I will go ahead and probe the turn small. And I'm going to follow through, going for another value bet on the river. I don't think there's any need to overbet this combo. If I had a stronger 7, if I had like king 7, queen 7, ace 7 could go either way because I blocked the call downs. Or if I had an underfull like pocket fives, I think I might, or a super strong hand like quad 7s, I might overbet here. With a weaker trips, I think I just want to use a more standard value bet size. Get a 2.5x open from a cutoff player that's playing short. Here, I really only want a 3-bet hands that I clearly want to fold if he jams over the top or clearly want to get in. King 10 really is neither. I think I just want to go ahead and call that one. We'll check range to him on the flop. Pretty good flop for me, flopping top pair. Lower left-hand table, I will raise over the weak limping player from the button with King 10 offsuit using something like my cutoff raise first in range, about 28%. I've got a top pair. I'm going to go ahead and check call the small bet over here. Check to him again on the turn. He continues betting. I see no reason why I should go anywhere with my top pair. I'll continue calling. Not that scared of the club river. He quickly checks back. Curious what he had that he didn't even think. He had ace-jack. I don't know. I think I would prefer from his perspective to either see a check back turn and bluff the river or triple off if he bets the turn. I don't think I like the bet turn, check back the river. Although I guess maybe he's thinking that I'm never folding any pair and he beats the draws. Maybe he's thinking he's got some showdown value there on that paired board. I don't know. He's probably better suited by checking the turn. Going to open 6-5 suited from the cutoff on the lower right-hand table using a 28% range. Lower right-hand table, we're going to open ace-king from the cutoff using a 21% range. Get a 2.5x open from the cutoff on the lower left-hand table. We are a bit deeper, but I'm not going to let that impact too much of what I do. I'm just going to go ahead and put in a standard 3-bet with queen 9 suited, 3-bet in about 10%. I get 3-bet on the lower right-hand table. I'm going to go ahead and 4-bet to call off with queens plus ace-king. Maybe use ace-queen offsuit as my bluff. Lower left-hand table, going to go ahead and put in a small range bet on the flop after he calls my 3-bet. I do have some cards I can barrel on the turn, mostly hearts. 10 does give me the gut shot, but I don't really want to bet all my gut shots here, so I'm going to go ahead and check the queen 9, jack 9 that don't also have spades. Lower right-hand table, we're going to go ahead and put in a small range bet on the flop after my 4-bet got called pre-flop. Upper left-hand table, going to open king 9 suited from middle position. I was going to bluff the river lower left-hand table. I turned a smidge of showdown value. I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to check it down now. He lets me, and my 9 is good. I got called here with the ace-king spot. I think I would want to be trapping most of my strong hands at this point. Aces for sure. I could even trap kings and even think about trapping queens. The only hands I really want to bluff jam with a lot of equity are going to be ace-king of hearts specifically. I don't know that I need to even necessarily do that. Maybe I could jam my queens and my ace-king of hearts, trap with my kings, aces, and also check ace-king offsuit, ace-queen offsuit. I had pocket 7s in that 3-bet pot. I probably need to just be folding here. I'm not sure there's too much merit in turning hands into check jams. I'm not sure what my bluffs would be, if anything. And my aces or kings are going to check jam here for sure. Queens as well if I didn't bet them. Ace-king suited if I didn't bet it. I think I just want to fold the other ace-kings and the ace-queen offsuit. Lower left-hand table, going to open ace-jack from the cutoff using a 28% range. Upper right-hand table, first hand of the new table, blind on blind, facing a 3x open. I will defend that for a call with ace-8. Decent flop for my hand, 5-6, 6-5-5 rainbow. Ace-high probably still ahead, but you never know. Can't take too much pressure at the same time. He checks. I'm going to go ahead and stab for half pot. Do have a lot of suited 5x in my range. Turn, I pick up the king of hearts. I do have the backdoor heart blocker. I just don't think I want to start betting all of them. I think I want to move my ace-high towards showdown as a default for the most part here. I guess if I want to have some ace of heart, but not flush draw hands, you know, the ace of heart blocker that are in my barrel range, I want to prioritize ones that have best removals to the 5. So probably hands like ace-4 with the ace of hearts would be the best one to barrel and barrel off on heart rivers. He goes ahead and blasts. I can actually bluff raise here decently effectively, which is what I'm going to try to do, rather than just try to hero call that. Upper left-hand table, I isolate over the under-the-gun limper, or from middle position limper from the cutoff with my pocket aces, using something like my middle position range, about 21%. Do also block 8-9, which in theory could have gotten there. And I got one through. Lower right-hand table, got a 3x open, blind on blind. I'm going to go ahead and defend for a call with ace-4. My limp got raised back by the short stack, half his stack in the middle. Just going to go ahead and put the rest in, not do anything screwy, give him a chance to get away post-flop when he's already committed that much. He calls off. He's got queens, kind of a setup for him. I'm here for it, though. I do have a backdoor diamond draw here in this blind battle, but that board is so coordinated, I think I don't want to get involved necessarily. If I had ace-jack, ace-8, ace-7, so if I had either overcard or a gut shot, I'd be more inclined to come along. I'm just going to be a real nit here and go ahead and fold, as I'm not sure what to do on later streets. Lower left-hand table, I will open king-queen from the cutoff using a 28% range. Against the button called and the big blind squeeze, I just go ahead and toss this into the muck. Upper left-hand table, we're going to open King Queen from middle position using the 21% range. Upper right-hand table, the recreational player limps the button. I will check my big blind with ace-4 suited and check range on the flop. He checks back. I'm going to go ahead and start probing at the turn, planning to follow through on the river. I got a 4 straight, nice scary board. I will go ahead and put my bluff in. King 7 had this player folded to me would normally not be an open. It's usually just outside my standard range. But because I have a weak player in the blinds that I want to play more hands with, I was fully planning to open King 7 if it folded to me, just to try to play more pots with the weak player. Upper right-hand table, I'll open tens from the cutoff using a 28% range. Lower right-hand table, I'll open Jack 10 blind on blind using a 45% range. And I'll check range here. Blind on the flop. Get 3-bet by the button. We don't know too much about him. He hasn't played any hands so far in about 2 orbits. Tens is kind of on the cusp of my usual 4-bet and stack off in this particular spot. Given that we're a little bit deeper and he has been tight, I think I may just shift that to play Jacks plus and Ace King as my stack off and put tens into my calling range. I'll check range on the flop. You know, calling 10s through 6s, a few of the low-suited connectors like 7-6, 6-5, 5-4, and then most, if not all, of my suited broadways. Upper left-hand table, going to go ahead and raise Queen 5 suited from the button using a 44% range. Lower right-hand table, the blind battle, he checks back on the flop. Turn is a good card for me in 9, giving me the open-ended straight draw. So I'm going to go ahead and start probing with my draw. Upper left-hand table, I will open Ace-8 suited from the cutoff using a 28% range. I don't really know how much merit there is in probing with this tens hand. I'm going to follow through with my bluff here with this Jack 4 hand in the lower right-hand table. Tens, I'm going to keep checking. Keep checking the tens, see if we can show them down. Not sure what took him so long to call for in that line, but lower right-hand table, going to 3-bet the cutoff min raise 2x open from the button with my King 10 suited. 3-betting about 14% there. Upper left-hand table, going to go ahead and range bet small against the big blind here on that 8 deuce deuce two-tone board. We get check raised. It's hard for me to have too much good here. I mean, I can have a couple combos of ace deuce suited. I can have eights full, and I can have some overpairs and some flush draws. I really need to be calling here though with my 8x, at least to the initial check raise. Upper right-hand table, blind on blind, I will open King 3 suited using a 45% range. Lower left-hand table, going to go ahead and open King Jack suited from under the gun using an 18% range. Upper right-hand table, I'm just going to go ahead and check range. I'm going to go ahead and check back my 8. Some merit to maybe betting it that small. Not entirely sure what I like better, checking back these kind of marginal showdown value hands or betting them small. Could go either way. Can certainly check back hands like quads and 8s full of the trap. I don't have to, or not that I have to, but I wouldn't range bet necessarily here multi-way, but with an open-ended straight draw, I am going to go ahead and bet some of my hands, including the open-ended straight draw. Use a small bet because we're multi-way. Gonna go ahead and start probing at the turn small here now. Let's see here. Get about a 2/3-ish type bet. Timed out thinking about it. Not sure if I wanted a hero call there or not, honestly. Turn, I'm going to go ahead and check back now that I've got second pair to go with my open ender. Move that a bit closer towards showdown. I don't know if there's any merit in trying to get a hand like 10-9 to call. I think I just want to take my showdown here. Maybe Jack-9 might have called. I don't know. Feels a little thin. Get a 2.5x open for middle position, and a short stack and a weak player both call. I will be squeezing with the queens for sure. Finding to stack off queens plus ace king if he jams back over the top. Probably 3-betting 6 to 7% here. Calling off against the short stack with pretty much everything. Is my 3-betting range going to be something like 10s plus, ace queen plus, and then most, if not all, of my suited broadways, something like that. Upper left-hand table, I will open king-9 from the button using a 44% range. Against that 3-bet, though, I'm just going to go ahead and fold. It's one of my worst hands I would open pre-flop, making it an easy fold against a 3-bet. Get a 2.5x open from the cutoff on the lower right-hand table. I will 3-bet my button with pocket 9s, 3-betting about 13% in this spot. You get 3-bet here, a pretty healthy size. This is a relatively loose formation. Pocket 9 is right around the cusp where I would normally call against the pool. However, because his size is a little on the large size, can maybe fold a couple hands with pocket 9 being on the cusp. I think I can actually let this one go pre-flop because of that. Pretty close. I could see an argument for a call, but given that his size was, in my opinion, a little bit too big, I get to fold a little bit more. Pocket 9 shifts from one end of the threshold, right, shifts from one side of the threshold to the other and becomes a fold. Lower right-hand table, going to open Ace-Jack from, I guess this is effectively the cutoff now, using a 28% range. It called by the big blind, a King 8-6 two-tone board. Go ahead and range bet that, assuming he checks to me. He does. Barrel some gut shots that I turn, given that I also block the flush draw. I can also barrel if I make top pair with an ace. With that third diamond, I think I'd probably rather check this back, as I don't want to bloat the pot too much on a sort of marginal four flush for if the fourth diamond hits the river. I'd rather the fourth diamond shows up with this hand in a check back line. Upper left-hand table, going to 3-bet the cutoffs 2.5x open from my big blind with king, queen suited, using about a 10% range. And I think I need to turn this hand into a bluff here. No need to show it down. For left-hand table, I will range bet to the in-position player that called the 3-bet on the King, Jack, Deuce rainbow board. Let's see here. I want to barrel some flush draws and check others. I think the kings and the jacks with the flush draws are going to make better checks for the most part. A hand like 10-9 suited as well would be good barrels along with the ace-high ones. I'm going to go ahead and check this. Against that small bet, I will check raise my marginal top pair on the lower right-hand table. And I've got top pair and that flush draw, so I'm just going to go ahead and check call. Check again on the river. I'm going to shut the session down here now as well after this orbit. Let's see here. What did he had ace queen, so he gave up barreling on the river and just surrendered it instead. But I think my trap was pretty good. lower right hand table. If another spade hit, I would have checked to him, and he would have certainly repped the flush with the nut flush blocker. He had ace queen with the queen of spades. Lower right-hand table, 2.5x open from the button. I will 3-bet from the small blind with pocket tens, 3-betting about 15% here. Three bet gets called. You get a Jack 4-3 two-tone board. I will go ahead and range bet small to start out. He calls. I'm going to go ahead and check. It's not really strong enough to start betting to try to triple off with. Certainly too strong to be bluffing with. And think about value betting some rivers as well against hands like 6, 7s, 8s, 9s. Interesting. I think I still want to check this If I had the ace, I could value bet for sure. I think he's just going to surrender with a hand like sevens, eights, nines. Half pot bet. I probably have to snap that off. There's going to be an awful lot of ace high there, though. That half pot bet is just so over bluffed. Call check bet is a little bit more bluffy than typical. This is a loose formation. I'm going to pay off ace high a lot here. I don't think I have much of a choice. Ace high, I mean the ace to the wheel straight. Upper left-hand table, we open king 5 suited from the cutoff. We get a 7-6-4 two-tone board against the big blind, and we'll range bet that small. I've got the open-ended straight and flush draw here. Lower left-hand table, going to open kings from middle position using a 21% range. Get called all the way around. Very multi-way action, very bad board for pocket kings, that 8-6-5 two-tone board. I'm going to be checking range here multi-way with the player out of position to me, or player in position to me. Get led into for half pot. I will float for a call with kings here. Hopefully the guy in position folds out, but if I start getting too much action, I'm just going to have to muck these kings. Now the leading player checks pre-flop. I'm going to take the lead using a small bet as we're still multi-way, and I do still have an overpair, even though it's a very coordinated board. Get called in 2 spots. I mean, he could have been donking with a set. I actually think I can go ahead and try to bet this small and get paid off by a lot of worse hands as well. Don't mind that. Against a flush in position, which is very reasonable hand, although I think he really should have got some more money in there if he could have found a way to do it. It was like an 8-10 for 2 pairs, so I was value betting the worst hand out of 3 in that spot. But at least I did it small and didn't cost myself too badly. Kind of a shitty board and shitty spot for kings, but what are you going to do? It happens to us. Happens every day. Upper right-hand table, going to open ace-7 suited under the gun, using an 18% range. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed watching, as I sure enjoyed making it. Until next time, this is Charlie Murphy signing off.